This is the Epson F570. It's a wide format desktop sublimation printer that's absolutely amazing. It prints on both rolls and sheet media. And in this video, we're going to take you through the entire unboxing, setup, and first print. Now, something interesting about this box is there's a little punch right here where you can access your materials directly. Of course, once we open the lid, we'll have access to these as well. But that's just something if you're just really excited, you can already get some materials. But let's go ahead and just open the whole box here. And of course, once we open the top, we have everything. And it is beautiful. All right, so let's dive into what's inside. And there is a lot inside, by the way. Starting with that first initial access box here. Got a lot of goodies in here. Mostly our ink. Actually, this is going to be... Oh, yeah. So, of course, it's a CMYK system. So, in addition to our ink, we have some paperwork. Epson Edge Print Pro. I believe it's going to be some software in there. Lots of goodies in there. Not quite sure what that is, but I am positive we're going to find out. Have our power cable. Let's go ahead and get these out. Gonna carefully remove this styrofoam right here. Now, as I come over to this side, there is some ink here. It's going to be in this styrofoam insert, but as you can see here, these are our big bottles of ink. So I'm going to move those to the side. Now let's remove this. Okay, I feel some weight right here. In this piece of styrofoam, we have our maintenance box. So don't lose that. As you can see, they put some blue tape on it to catch your eye. But so if you feel some extra weight when you're removing this styrofoam, that's what that is. Don't lose that. Now, also inside the box, we have a few rolls of paper here. There we go. I count 1, 2. Now, thankfully, this has a very awesome feature of the box in that it just moves out of the way. So you don't have to worry about lifting it up and over the box or reaching in all awkward. You could just grab the machine. Don't underestimate the size. You definitely want to have at least 2 people to take this out of the box and place it where it needs to be. All right, so now that we have it on our table, let's go ahead and remove all the tape and plastic. Don't forget, we do have some important papers here. I'll keep these. Now, I definitely do not recommend using like blades or anything to slice off the plastic. You don't want to accidentally gouge or damage your machine. And now we're just going to go through removing all the tape. As we open the lid here, we're going to definitely see more tape. And here's where we're going to find our paper tray extension. Go ahead and set that to the side. Now to lift this portion, just hit that blue tab there. We're going to see some styrofoam inside. Just pull that out. This styrofoam here, this styrofoam here, of course, is what's holding our media roller bar in place during shipping. And that just snaps in and out. We can go ahead and close this back up for now. Now you'll see there is a piece of paper with a string attached to it. And there's going to be a little key inside. I'm going to go ahead and turn that and pull that out. And this is what that looks like. Make sure you don't lose this. Okay, now I'll get rid of the plastic here. So now that our printer's plugged in, let's go ahead and power it on. All right, so let's go ahead and select our language. It's going to thank us for our purchase. It's going to tell us to see the setup guide and remove the protective parts. Okay, after removal, go ahead and select Done. Now, we're actually going to pause here because once this is complete, it's going to start the ink initialization. So let's go ahead and move on over to our ink fill. All right, so now before we install, we do want to give a very gentle shake for about 5 seconds. It's not really so much a shake as it is just give it a few turns. Make sure everything's nice and loose, nothing is solidified. There we go. So now we're going to open up access to our ink tanks. So you'll notice that every tank is color coded. And not only that, it has the model number of the ink you'll be using. So for black, it's going to be T49M1. And yes, we have the T49M1 ink to make sure that you're not using the wrong ink. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and open up the top to all of our tanks. And we're going to fill them one at a time, starting with black. And what's really cool is you just kind of flip it over and put it in. And you'll hear it. We're just gonna let gravity do its work. There's no need to squeeze. There's no need to push, pull, force, or anything like that. And each of these tanks has a special cap that only allows you to fill the right one. So Epson's done a really good job of making sure that you're not accidentally putting the wrong color ink into the wrong tank. So not only will you kind of hear the ink kind of glugging along as it fills your tank, but you will notice on the front there is a visual into the tank. So you can actually see how full your tank is getting. You always want to let it fill to the top line. Now it should auto stop. These are designed to not overfill, but of course it's always great to just, as a precaution, keep an eye on the tank level and make sure you're not filling past that top line. All right, so we're now at our top line. Let's go ahead and carefully lift this off there and check it out. No messy spills, nothing like that. There is still some ink left here in the bottle, so I'm going to go ahead and cap it. Save that for later. And now I can lower this cap right here. We're going to go on to our next one, and we're going to repeat these steps until all 4 tanks have been filled. And finally, it's time for our blue. Okay, and that's going to do it for our ink fill. Just going to carefully remove that. Cap that up. I do still have a little ink in each bottle, so of course we're going to save all those. Let's go ahead and cap that final tank, and boom. Pretty easy, right? Okay, so now we could proceed. We're going to go month, day, year. It looks like this has actually already been set. Looking good. We're on the 12-hour format. And then we are AM. There we go. We're going to click OK. And now that all of our setup has been completed, it's going to go ahead and start with our ink fill. Now, just so you know, this is going to take about 75 minutes, just a little bit over an hour. So go ahead and go get some coffee, get some lunch, and then we'll see you here in a few minutes. Now, for you, it's going to be a few seconds. For me, I'm going to go have some lunch. All right, so it's been 75 minutes. We're back from our ink charge. I'm going to kind of turn it back on, and we are ready to go. Now, it's telling us to load paper. At this point, I could either load sheets or roll. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up the lid right here, and we can bring out our media roll. Now, this piece right here, this black piece, is going to be stationary, and it's going to be this clear piece on my right that is what's going to actually move. So I'm going to go ahead and just gently pull it off. Don't need a ton of force. So we're going to want to load our roll so that way the top feeds into the machine. So we're going to bring that over, press down, and now this other part, the clear piece, that's going to come in, go over, and it probably helps if you're going to hold it from the bottom. That way you could bring it on down, load the core. It should be nice and snug, and now we could lock this back into place in our machine, and we're going to get the paper and we're going to feed it in until it catches in the machine. So go ahead and do that. There we go. We hear the beep. And it's ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and close this, and that's how you load the roll. Let's go back over to our front screen here. For paper type, there are a few others. I'm going to put general purpose textile. That seems to work. I mean, we could look at others here. And actually, no, it's sublimation transfer paper. That seems best. Yeah, general purpose textile. Actually, looks like that's what the default was. All right, now for paper remaining, that's off right now. You could put remaining. Cannot, because remaining amount. Now, just so you know, this is going to be in meters. I know that I have a 100-foot roll in there, but since off the top of my head, I don't know what the conversion is. I'm going to save this for later. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to be able to allow you to set a remaining alert. So once you're within 5 meters, let's say this was a 30-meter roll. Once you're within 5 meters, it'll alert you to let you know that you only have so much left. That way, you don't send a huge job and run out of paper in there. So we're going to deactivate that right now. We're going to go back. Of course, we can always go back and set that up. But now that this roll paper is done, we're going to hit OK. It's going to finish loading the paper that I just rolled through. There we go. And we are almost ready to print. Now, before we proceed, we do want to print a nozzle check just to make sure that everything's working properly. Now, to print our nozzle check, we're going to go into Settings, Maintenance. Then we're going to go into Print Nozzle Check, Print Head Nozzle Check. Okay, our paper source is fine. We're using the roll. And let's go ahead and start. All right, now as you can see, well, another thing that I love about this machine is the automatic sheet cutter. So that ran it just fine. So as you can see here, we have nice clean patterns, just like what we want here. So once these are clean, we're going to confirm here on the right that yes, we do have a solid pattern. And we're ready to rock and roll. We can now fire off our first print. All right, so here we are at the download page for our drivers. Now, it's telling me that it's not automatically detecting my operating system, which is perfectly fine. I can just go here, select my operating system, and click go. Now, if yours automatically detects, it'll just show up there in that drop-down. All right, I don't need to download any firmware right now, but I am going to download the drivers, and I'm just going to go to the drivers and utilities combo package installer. I'm going to click download. All right, so now that my download is complete, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. This file contains everything you need to, oh, okay, sounds good. Let's click OK. Okay, it's asking me to select my language. We're going to stick with English. I'll accept those terms. Yes, I do want all of these. That looks good. And click install. All right, so we're going to click next here on this screen. Confirm the ink is charged. Yes, we already went through our ink charge, so I'm going to check that. Click next. And we're going to be connecting through a direct USB. As you can see here, there's 3 different connection methods. For this video, we're going to be going for the direct USB connection. Okay, at this point, we're going to go ahead and plug our USB into our computer and into our printer. As soon as I plug that in, it automatically detected. So that's good. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save our product registration for later, but I would encourage you to do that on your own time when you get the chance. Oh, good, a reminder. I'm going to remind me in 14 days. Your software installation and printer setup are complete. Awesome. So next, we're going to download Epson Edge Print Pro. This is the print management software that you're going to use to set up your jobs and send your files to print. Now, it's going to come in a DVD case like this. Now, if you don't have a CD drive on your computer, you could just go straight to the website that's printed right here on the inside. And that's support.epson.net/EEP/. Okay, so we're just going to scroll down and we're going to download Epson Edge Print right here. All right, if you would like automatic updates, you can select automatic checking. If not, I would just disable, or if you're not ready to make this decision, you can click notify me later. I'm going to go ahead and click notify me later for the sake of this video. Okay, so now we can minimize all of this and we're going to open Epson Edge Print. Okay, and since it's our first time opening, we're going to click Initial Settings. Okay, and now in your DVD case, or in the case for the software, there is a license key that we're going to go ahead and put in now. We are online, so we're going to proceed. And let's punch in that serial number. Now this is found on a sticker right underneath the CD. We're going to go ahead and register the printer later. Let's go ahead and click Finish. All right, so now in addition to the Epson Edge Print installer, we're also going to need to download the model information file. And for us, we're going for the SCF500 series, which is right here. Let's go ahead and download that and get that set up. Okay, we're going to open this up. Okay, let's go ahead and open up this file here. And we're going to install. Okay, so now it's installed that file. We can go ahead and close everything here. And now we can open Epson Print Edge. Now we've already done step 1. And now that we've downloaded the printer info, we can see now that our printer is showing up here. We can go ahead and register this. Okay, and there we go. So now let's go ahead and add our file. I have my print here already ready to go. Okay, now this preview that we're seeing, if I can zoom out a little bit, this preview area, you'll see that it goes up to the full 24 inches, and that's because the paper width has already been detected. And I could load as many jobs as I want to cram into here. So if I have multiples of this job, I can duplicate it. There's a really cool nesting feature, which is great. I don't have time to go through this entire program right here. Of course, you look forward to another video from us on that. But for now, since this is our first print, I have my image. It's already sized properly. Let's go ahead and send that to print. Now we have it set to auto cut, so if you're gonna do that, be sure you're ready to kind of catch it. There we go. Look at this beautiful huge print. It's ready to go on our photo panel. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, this print, I do have a lot of extra paper over here. Now, depending on what press you're using, you may or may not have to do this. but I do like to trim just a little bit off. It's going to help me a little bit later when I'm actually lining this up on the press, because there's going to be less paper hanging off the edge. I'll have an easier time centering it. And I don't want to trim too close because I do need some margin to actually tape this to. There we go. All right, now I'll turn this around so it can be right side up for you guys. And now this particular substrate, it does have a protective layer of film on the surface. Not everything that you press will have this film. But, you know, of course, if you do have this film, you definitely want to peel that off before you heat press it. Put that over there. And then also, because I have a nice clean surface, I'm going to try to not get my fingerprints on it. There we go. So this is perfectly clean. So now I'm going to place it face down on my print. And when we're doing sublimation prints, we use a thing called print bleed, and that's where your print is just a little bit bigger than the actual substrate. So as you can see here, I have a little bit of extra border on all sides, and that's going to ensure that I get full edge-to-edge coverage on the surface of my substrate. So now I'm going to do a few things here. I'm going to just tape it. Tape the transfer to my substrate. And what this heat tape does is it's going to help me maintain the registration of my print to my substrate. So I mean, I've taken time to align it, but when I carry it over to my heat press, I want to make sure that that alignment stays intact. I want to make sure it's nice and straight while it's being heat pressed. And do little pieces of tape on all sides. Now, typically 2 sides is enough. Doing all 4 sides might be a little bit overkill, but that's okay. It's not like we can like over tape it. And so now, as I carry this over and I move it around, it's going to maintain registration. It's going to be nice and straight. And yeah, let's take this over to our heat press. So now one thing that we do like to do is cover our bottom platen with some parchment paper. And this is going to protect our bottom platen from any sort of like ink discharge or blowout, whatever you want to call it. You always want to make sure that you're covered. Now this transfer is barely going to fit. We are pressing with our big 16 by 24 inch heat press, but this measures 15.5 inches by 18.5 inches. So at 15.5 inches, it's literally right at the threshold of what we would put on this machine. So I'm going to very carefully align my transfer on all sides and just make sure that it's going to be centered when I slide it back in and heat press it. Then of course, because it's so wide, we're going to cover it with 2 more sheets of parchment paper, being very careful to not let it shift. Because like I said, it's barely going to fit. So one more time, just going to give it one final check. Right there should be good. Right there should be good. We're going to slide it in and press. Okay, and we're pressing this photo panel at 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Okay, now even though this is an auto open, we're going to carefully help it open. One thing that I've noticed is when we're pressing sublimation transfers, we don't really want to like jolt it or force anything open by any means. So let's go ahead and slide this out. And we're ready for our peel and reveal. So let's go ahead. Let's rotate this here. That way it could be right side up. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. And get that out of the way for you. Look at that. For more information on the Epson F570 sublimation printer and to see our full selection of heat transfer equipment and supplies, head on over to heatpressnation.com.